Very good morning to one and all present here. I, Professor Ashwati Fuljale, Assistant Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, welcomes you all for the online lecture of Advanced Manufacturing Technique, an elective subject of 8th semester Mechanical Engineering. My dear friends, in our previous lecture, we were discussing about the gas welding. Particularly, we started the session with the oxy-acetylene gas welding. In our previous lecture, we saw the technological revolution of oxy-acetylene gas welding, how that particular fusion process started, and that revolution started back in the 18th century. My dear friends, research and development is the never-ending process, and the wheel of technological revolution and research and development will roll on further. Now, in the sequence of the same, today we will start discussing more about oxy-acetylene gas welding process. But the most important thing that I would like to mention here, this particular process is not restricted for welding only, but with the help of this process we can perform soldering, brazing, repair, maintenance and machining as well. Now, introduction about oxy-acetylene gas welding. Gas welding is a fusion welding process. In this oxy-acetylene gas welding, two gases are being fused, and these two gases are acetylene and oxygen. We have already discussed that acetylene gas will actually fuse, whereas oxygen will help for combustion, that is for the fusion. It joins the metal using the heat of combustion of an oxygen or air and fuel gas, that is acetylene. Apart from acetylene, hydrogen, propane and butane can also be used, or else we can simply restrict this process to acetylene and oxygen. The intense heat or flame thus produced melts and fuses together the edges of the part to be welded, generally with the addition of the filler metal. Filler metal can or cannot be used if the thickness of the metal to be welded is quite high, then we can use the filler rod material also. The oxy-acetylene welding process uses a combustion of oxygen and acetylene to provide a high temperature flame. My dear friend, you can hear one new word, that is flame. The flames plays vital role in this process. In the construction feature, you will see different operational parameters, different parts of this particular setup, wherein you will observe a flame is emerging out of the nozzle of a torch that we generally call a welding torch, and there are three different types of flames that we are going to discuss in further slides. Oxy-acetylene welding is a manual process in which the welder must personally control the torch movement and filler rod application. The term OxyFuel Gas Welding outfit refers to all the equipment needed to weld. Cylinders contain oxygen and acetylene gas at extremely high pressure. The oxy-acetylene gas welding process is a manual process wherein we will have to control several parameters. In next slides we are going to see the oxygen cylinder, acetylene cylinder, There are pressure regulating valves, pressure indicator, hose, welding torch, and other things. For generating a particular flame, we will have to control all those parameters. That is the pressure of the oxygen as well as acetylene cylinder. Accordingly, we will have to adjust the pressure regulating valves. Then when another valve is provided onto the torch, with the help of which we can further adjust the valves, we can further adjust the pressure. And in the torch we can see the mixing chamber is there, wherein both the gases gets mixed, and with the small ignition or a spark, the flame is generated. We are going to see all those things diagrammatically. Now in this picture we can see the fuel gases. Apart from the acetylene, we can use propane, natural gas, and hydrogen. Each of the gases are stored in the pressure vessel, generally we call cylinders. Their color combinations are decided as per the international standards. Uses of those processes, apart from the welding, traditionally oxyfuel equipment was used for brazing, fusion welding, flame hardening, metallizing, soldering, stress relieving, cutting, and bending also. Bending, if uh, we heat particular region up to recrystallization temperature, then the metal gets smoothened, and in that case we can bend the metal. New technologies in the GMAW, gas metal arc welding process, has almost eliminated the need for oxyfuel welding. Primary uses today are heating, brazing, and cutting. In industries, this process is more popularly used for heating, brazing, and cutting. Even though this process is used for the stress relieving, also as mentioned in a point above, stress relieving that depicts to the heat treatment process. It is up to certain extent correlated with the heat treatment process. We all are aware about the heat treatment. That is why we are not going to discuss further more about heat treatment. Then OxyFuel system, a particular setup, as you can see on your screen, the cylinders, hose, welding torch, and the nozzle. They are represented with the English alphabets. As you can see, oxygen safety disc, it is represented by A. B is the oxygen cylinder valve. C, oxygen cylinder pressure gauge. Oxygen working pressure gauge is shown with D. E is the oxygen regulator. F represents oxygen regulator adjusting screw. G indicates the acetylene cylinder safety disc. Similar things, all those safety disc, valve, pressure regulating gauges similarly is mounted onto the acetylene cylinder. Now the K is representing acetylene regulator, acetylene regulating adjusting screw is represented by L. Now M and N represent the acetylene and oxygen hose respectively. After that, O is the oxygen torch valve, P is the acetylene torch valve, Q represent the welding torch, R is nothing but the welding tip, S represent acetylene cylinder, and T in the end is the oxygen cylinder. This is a generalized setup of oxy-acetylene gas welding, wherein the picture represent all the necessary requirements for this particular setup. We must be very cautious while operating with those gases, as both the gases are uh, filled up in a pressure vessel and they are at extreme pressure. And one another precaution we must take care while handling or using this process is these gases must not be exposed to the air directly. Oxygen will never harm, but acetylene can cause heavy loss. It is readily combustible, that is why we must be aware about handling those gases. Now the oxygen cylinder. My dear friends, the oxygen cylinders, acetylene cylinders, certain international standards has to be followed. We must follow their right from their threads, their hose, their color representation, and other things. Few of them are mentioned below in this presentation. One piece, it is a seamless construction as highly pressurized gas is present inside, so the pressure vessel must be a seamless construction. Each cylinder has unique serial number and number is recorded in national registry, even though their manufacturing has to register nationwide. Scheduled inspection is necessary. It must be checked properly for any kind of leakages. Uh, Mainly the leakages causes from the upper section wherein several valves, safety nuts are present. So we must keep on inspecting for any kind of leakages. It must not be dropped from a certain height. It must be used very consciously. It should not be used as a roller, as uh, its diameter is lesser and length is wide. Few of the incidences were recorded wherein this cylinder was used as a roller. It may be harmful as highly pressurized gases are present, and even by mistake the wall is broken, heavy damage can cause. Never use any lubricants onto the threads or any part of the cylinder. The three common sizes for oxygen cylinder is 244, 150 and 80 cubic feet. These are the worldwide accepted standardized dimension of oxygen cylinder. The wall should never be left exposed. It must always have a regular attached or the cap on it, isn't it? The cap is necessary for any kind of damages onto these threads or onto the several walls and the safety nuts, isn't it? Now the pressure regulators. Gas systems must have a pressure regulator to reduce the pressure from high pressure in the cylinder down to the working pressure. Many different designs are used. They range from simple fixed output, commonly used for gas grills and camping stores. Now, the welding torch. For the welding torch, my dear friends, we will discuss in our next video. Today we will stop here, and in next video we will discuss from the same point and onwards. Till then, thank you and take care.